Good afternoon and welcome to all of the IBD patients and their loved ones tuning in to tonight's live stream in honor of Crohn's and Colitis Awareness Week. My name is Michelle Falsey, and I'm the Foundation's Senior Manager of Social Media and Public Relations. Throughout Awareness Week, we are sharing many ways to make IBD visible. Today, we are joined by 3 members of the Foundation's senior leadership team who will provide more insight into how the Foundation is not only working to increase awareness of Crohn's and colitis, but also advance progress toward cures and improve the quality of life of the millions of Americans living with IBD. The senior leadership team members joining us today are Christy DeSantis, the Foundation's Chief Marketing Officer, Dr. Alan Moss, the Foundation's Chief Scientific Officer, and Laura Wingate, the Foundation's Executive Vice President of Education, Support, and Advocacy. Welcome.
Thanks, Michelle, and thank you to everybody who joined us this evening or this afternoon, depending on where you're located. We're really excited to be sharing some updates with you, and we look forward to getting your feedback after the program. Michelle?
Thank you, Laura. Over the course of tonight's discussion, we will chat about recent progress the Foundation has made to increase awareness of IBD, support and educate patients and their caregivers, and find cures and improve quality of life. I would like to thank our sponsors, AbbVie, Boehringer Ingelheim, Bristol Myers Squibb, Janssen, Pfizer, Sanofi, and Takeda for their generous support of Crohn's and Colitis Awareness Week and for making today's chat possible. If you have a question about Crohn's or colitis that is not answered in tonight's chat, our IBD Help Center is available to assist you. You can contact our IBD Help Center by emailing info@crohnscolitisfoundation.org or calling 1-888-MY-GUT-PAIN. With that said, let's get started. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation is proud to be a part of nearly every major research breakthrough in IBD. Dr. Moss, can you tell us about what this means and some key research projects the Foundation is currently supporting?
Sure, Michelle. So if you think about all the drugs that are available today for our patients with inflammatory bowel disease, the Foundation has played a role at almost every level in helping getting those from the lab to the clinic. And a good example of this would be something like one of the biologics, Remicade or infliximab or Inflectra, this type of drug. Back in the late 70s, early 80s, the Foundation played a role in funding researchers who discovered this was an important target for treatment of inflammatory bowel disease. And then as these drugs came through the pathway and got approved by the FDA, the Foundation played a really important role in trying to help figure out through our researchers what's the right dose for patients, how to address side effects, how to optimize the dose for individual patients. So that's a good example of really shepherding a drug from an initial idea right through to having it available in the clinic for our patients.
That's great. And you mentioned patients a lot in that, because patients are involved in everything we do at the Foundation, and we ensure that their voices are heard. So Laura, can you share some ways in which the Foundation's put patients first in 2023?
Absolutely. So first, I want to say patients are pivotal to everything we do at the Foundation and are involved in helping us and guiding our research initiatives. They are part of guiding our education, patient education, but they're also part of helping to guide our professional education and make sure that the resources that we're providing for both our patient community, the caregiver community, as well as the healthcare professionals who serve everyone with IBD, that the patient's perspective, the patient's insights, the needs of the patient are really taken into account. So in 2023, patients have been engaged in reviewing our research proposals and what we're going to be funding in terms of pivotal research that's going to move towards the future of better treatments, but ultimately towards cures. And then in the education area, patients have been involved in everything from our biosimilar education to helping us craft the resources that are in our Spanish language resources, to being part of helping us plan the program that's coming up early next year, the IBD Insider Program, which will be highlights from the Crohn's and Colitis Congress in January. So patients are pivotal to everything that we do. And it's not just adult patients. We actually engage young adults through our National Council of College Leaders, as well as when we create pediatric-facing materials for the youngest audience. We do focus groups and other engagement techniques to ensure that we're actually getting to the language and the way people want to be engaged through whether it's a Facebook or a YouTube live like this, or if it's an infographic or a short video. Patients, including our youngest pediatric patients, are engaged with us in helping us determine the mode, the content, and evaluating all of our programs.
Thank you. So as you mentioned, one of the many ways that we're putting patients first is by being a trustworthy source for the IBD community as we educate, guide, and support them on every step of their journey. So Christy, can you share more about how we are working to expand our reach and ensure that all patients have access to the Foundation's resources?
Sure, and I'll build on what Laura just shared to say that at the Foundation, we aim to meet people where they are. So we have created tools to guide patients through every step of their journey, including our online gut-friendly recipe finder, our online IBD medication guide, and our We Can't Wait restroom finder app. And it's why our website, Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org, is chock full of resources, where we also have a variety of downloadable printable materials that can be shared with those who don't have access or the ability to read online. We are regularly sharing updates and links to our resources through our website, through social media, through email, but we're also expanding our reach in the media to connect with patients and their loved ones and the broader community who may be unfamiliar with the Foundation. And over the past year, we've had a 65% increase in the number of times the Foundation was mentioned in the media. And this year we were featured in major outlets like the New York Times, Washington Post, and CBS News. Our Spill Your Guts PSA campaign also helps us reach beyond the IBD community to the general public to help drive awareness. We know that 85% of patients who are connected with the Foundation say that the organization has positively impacted their IBD journey. So we know all of this work is really important.
Thanks, Christy. And it's kind of a nice segue into this next question I'm going to ask Dr. Moss, because you talk about venturing into new territories with media, but now let's pivot into talk about what that means in a research sense. So one approach that makes the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation unique is that we take risks and venture into uncharted territories in our quest for better treatments and cures. Dr. Moss, can you share some examples of risks the Foundation has taken and innovative research projects that we are currently supporting?
Sure, Michelle. So one of the important things the research arm of the Foundation does is fund researchers, both physicians, clinicians, and scientists, in taking risks with areas of science that are maybe not yet fully applicable to inflammatory bowel disease, but maybe in the future. And a good example of this was about 10 years ago, we started to fund research on the microbiome, assuming that the bacteria that live in your intestinal tract play some role in triggering or maintaining inflammatory bowel disease. And many of those projects led to understanding of how the mix of bacteria there influences inflammation, non-inflammation, what happens to patients with Crohn's and colitis during flare-ups in terms of the bacteria in their intestinal tract. And that was really helpful now in leading to understanding and developing new therapies that actually modulate the microbiome. So that's one example. The second example of high-risk ventures that we do is we actually have a venture arm that takes small companies that are very early stage, have interesting ideas, either diagnostics or tests or treatments for Crohn's disease and colitis, and actually helps them through the initial high-risk steps of working at, is this a drug useful, what the target is, and then helping them get to the point where they can do clinical trials and hopefully become an FDA-approved therapy. So early on, many companies, there's a big chasm that many companies face to get into clinical trials, and we help them bridge that gap so then they're able to do clinical trials and see if the drug's safe and effective in Crohn's and colitis.
That's great. So building on that a little bit, when it comes to advancing progress for patients, the Foundation is a driving force in the development of next-generation treatments and personalized medicine. So why should patients feel hopeful about the future of IBD treatments?
I think, Michelle, our tools have gotten a lot better, both in terms of the scientific tools to probe cells, to probe the microbiome, the technology tools like AI to really look through lots and lots of data and figure out where the signals are that indicate, is someone high risk of complications or low risk. And we've seen, even in the last 6 months, 3 or 4 new therapies approved for Crohn's and colitis that previously we'd only seen a new therapy every 5 to 6 years. Now we've seen a couple just in the last 6 months. So I think that the pipeline, what we call the pipeline of new drugs, is full of new therapies and new mechanisms of action. The technology's improved our ways of diagnosing and treating inflammatory bowel disease. And so all these combined really have a lot of optimism and hope for really pushing us to the next level in terms of diagnosing and treating Crohn's and colitis.
Thank you. That certainly makes me optimistic to hear how fast everything is accelerating. Whenever we're engaging with patients, the Foundation prioritizes including diverse perspectives. So, Laura, can you share more about our work in diversity, equity, and inclusion?
Absolutely. And thank you for asking the question, Michelle. And first, I want to say the Foundation really looks at diversity, equity, inclusion, not just as something that we do externally, but also we do internally. So the Foundation is working to ensure that we have diverse volunteers engaged with us at all levels of the Foundation, that our staff is representative of the IBD community and the community at large, that we are meeting the needs of our employees through resource groups and other activities that increase the feeling of inclusion and oneness with the Foundation. But particularly with ensuring that we're meeting the needs of the IBD community, we need to reach out to a lot of different audiences. And in the last year and a half, we really launched a lot of programs to meet the different needs of different people around the country. So for instance, we've launched resources for IBD patients and caregivers who come from the veteran and active military. Those resources are available on our website. We've been implementing mornings of culture and mornings of community that are part of our live education around the country that bring together the Black African American community and the Hispanic Latino community for networking, gathering, and also programs specific to those communities' unique needs. We've also been really working to make sure that our support resources meet the needs of a variety of IBD patients, from having support resources for those with ostomies, J pouches, fistulizing disease, but also working with our volunteers and identifying groups that they want to have. So recently we have a lesbian bisexual female group, a gay bisexual male group, a Black African American support group, as well as the Hispanic Latino support group. So I really encourage those listening tonight, if there is a need for support within your community that you're not currently seeing, reach out to us. Let us know, because we want to respond to our community's needs and make sure we're providing those resources. In addition, we've also really made an effort to translate a lot of our resources into Spanish so we can meet the needs of the Spanish-speaking community around the United States and worldwide. And we're looking to, through partnerships and collaborations, do more translations of our materials and make sure that anyone needing assistance with inflammatory bowel disease can reach out to us. And as always, I want to call out the IBD Help Center, which can respond to inquiries in over 140 different languages. So please reach out to us if you need any assistance. And lastly, I wanted to highlight two really dedicated initiatives that are going to be working to improve clinical trial engagement, which we're really thrilled to be a recipient of a grant through the Helmsley Charitable Trust that's going to bring together stakeholders from various communities, regulatory, to really delve deep into how can we get a more diverse patient community engaged in clinical trials. And we'll be launching that initiative early next year. And just recently, we've been the recipient of a CDC grant where we're going to be doing work with the University of Alabama to address the social determinants of health literacy, and bring together community organizations to increase awareness of IBD and improve effective disease management of IBD in Birmingham, with the intention of really sharing the resources that we've developed with other organizations and to expand their use across the United States. I encourage everybody to, if they want to learn more about the foundation's diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, to visit the foundation's diversity, equity, and inclusion page. And Michelle, you'll be posting that in the chat. And lastly, if anybody is interested in volunteering with us, sharing their perspectives, sharing their ideas, we always are seeking volunteers to getting engaged with our advocacy and other efforts. So Michelle will also be posting our Get Involved link as well.
Thank you, Laura. It's so great to hear about all of the work that's being done with respect to diversity, equity, and inclusion. So switching gears a bit, because now let's talk about the future. In 2024, the Foundation is aiming to fuel a new era of progress toward cures and improved quality of life for patients. Christy, what are some ways that patients can stay connected to the Foundation to be regularly updated on this progress?
Yeah, great question. We have so many ways to stay connected. Obviously, people can visit our website, which is crohnscolitisfoundation.org, and you can find our IBD Visible blog there, which has regularly updated stories and information. You can also follow us on our social channels. We're on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, X, and Threads. You can find us there by searching Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. You can also sign up to receive our e-newsletter and our advocacy action alerts. You can become a member, or you can also connect with your local chapter of Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. As Laura mentioned too, if you have questions about your IBD journey or you need help, you can contact us by emailing info@crohnscolitisfoundation.org or calling us at 1-888-MY-GUT-PAIN.
Thank you, Christy. And thank you to Laura and Dr. Moss as well for joining me this afternoon or evening, depending on where you're listening from. And to our sponsors, AbbVie, Boehringer Ingelheim, Bristol Myers Squibb, Janssen, Pfizer, Sanofi, and Takeda for making this chat possible. If you enjoyed watching this session, we hope you will consider sharing the recording of this chat, which will be available on our YouTube channel, with other members of the IBD community. And as a reminder, if you have any questions we did not get to tonight, our IBD Help Center is available to assist. You can contact them by emailing info@crohnscolitisfoundation.org or calling 1-888-MY-GUT-PAIN. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of Crohn's and Colitis Awareness Week. Good night.